to date, we haven't had any submissions, and I'd like to, it's pretty standard operating procedure, but I'd just like to get a motion in a second to postpone the deadline if we have no viable entries. Okay, can I get a motion to that effect?
Yes, I make a motion.
Okay, motion. Trish, you want a second?
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? No, okay. I think it just makes perfect sense. Okay. The Naiads repair. St. Kate's Fine Arts removed the second standing Naiad yesterday and took her back to the workshop, kicking and screaming. They will reinforce the supports, fill the legs with weighted metal, and reinstall. The cost, thank you, Lord, was covered by insurance, which was already received by the city. Miss Efficiency over there, Diane Wood, already paid St. Kate's half of what their invoice was. So not only are all our bills paid, we actually have money in the hopper for the second round. So thank you, Diane. Okay. The remaining half will be due on delivery and reinstallation of the two sculptures. Desmond of St. Kate's did say that they're probably due for a routine, look at the patinization, so.
What was the total cost of the repairs?
15.6, something like that.
15,000?
Yeah,
And insurance covered it?
17,000?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, insurance covered it all. So,
My understanding, they're 2 years old?
they've been up for
Or
2
3.
years, I think.
Not quite 3, I don't think.
Yeah, no, 2, I think, yeah, 2.
Yeah,
a little
I
more.
think we've had them for 3 years, but they were in storage for a long time
Yeah.
before they were installed. Because I know that they were purchased before I came on the committee, so they've been around for a bit. Okay, new business, discussion of purchase of two works by artist Louis Marcoya. Louis Marcoya was a protege of Salvador Dali, having worked with Dali in New York for 6 years. His work is currently on exhibit at the Lipa Ratner and will be until February 2022. His lenticular 3D style is distinctive and will enhance a public space. City Manager LaCouris has approved installation on a city building. Should we approve the purchase? He has offered us two works for $37.50, and they're in your backup.
They're interesting. So I have to admit, I have not been over to Lipa Ratner. Are these two that are already on display?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you've-
and-
you've seen them,
Yes,
Joan, what do you think?
I think they're spectacular. I mean, they're very eye-catching.
Very interesting, yeah, yeah. So we would not be getting them until the 2022, correct?
Oh, no, he can,
I thought you said they were on display in.
oh, no, I'm sorry. They were on his website. But he could make,
He does them in editions of 250.
right, they're limited editions.
Oh, okay.
But that's a very good price for a limited edition piece. The $37.50 for both of them.
And they would be displayed here in City Hall?
That's for us to figure out.
But would that qualify as original art?
Yep.
If so,
Well, it's just like the Naiads. It's a limited edition. Plus, given the price, it's, we actually have the discretion to just go ahead and approve the purchase.
yeah, okay.
If we, so. And the thing is that, there are other works on his website. So if you want to go back and look at the website and see if there's, anything, but,
My concern is where they're gonna be displayed. I'm certainly not questioning his qualifications, but I'm just kind of wondering where they would be shown.
well, some ideas were kind of like near the box office, downstairs in the hallway or in the lobby, going into the building. you know, somewhere in the hallway of City Hall. You know, they're not that big, so we could really, you know, they could even go over in the Cultural Heritage Center or the Cultural Center.
They would be put on a table, I guess, right?
No,
Is that
no,
what I
they're
understand?
mounted on the wall.
Oh, they're mounted on the wall, okay, gotcha.
They're backlit, Trish.
Okay, interesting.
Do they have the lighting already installed?
I believe so. Robert?
Why? It's a show over at the Lipper Ratner. We've had a lot of them. Why are we wanting to buy 2 of these for Tarpon Springs? I mean, what does it have to do with something for us? It's just buying something that is striking our fancy, or what? I mean, I don't see the connection of it. And especially, again, considering the budget issue. We don't have what I would say an extensive collection of art in this town, of art that's you know, museum quality art and things like that. We have the George Ennis Juniors, which is hardly any of us ever see. They're pretty famous, so I think that, you know, I just wonder if we're spending that kind of money on these 2 pieces, which really have nothing to do with us, and it's a protege of Dali, and does it photographically or whatever it is, and does backlighting, and it's a pretty large limited edition of things. I'm just, you know, I think they're interesting works, but I just don't see why we would expend our budget on them. I'd rather see buying a local artist, you know, somebody who maybe commissioning a local artist to do something that, so like, you know, with Elizabeth, and, you know, and there are people here that can do things and make art, make a lot of art, and people in the county that make art and make a lot of art.
Well,
I
he is
don't think-
local, consider St. Pete local.
He considers St. Pete local?
No, if we consider St. Pete local.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I mean, there,
lives in St. Pete.
you have a lot of things. I mean, you know, I just don't think that they're, in my opinion, unique enough to want to specially start this approach in seeing something we like at an art museum and deciding we want to buy them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not for it. That's all I'm just going to say. I'm not a voting member anyway, so I keep saying that.
Well, he is local. He does have the tie-in with Dolly. You know, I think they're fascinating pieces. It would certainly be something unique. I know, especially Lucianne, we've been talking for a while about getting some more, you know, modern impressionistic type art in town. So I think from that point of view, you know, I think they're very eye-catching. I think they would make an impact here. You know, it's unlike anything that's around, and you know, I think it's a good idea. But
Yeah, I like them.
Lucianne,
I like
do you
them
have
too.
a?
Debbie.
Oh, Debbie.
Joan, has any thought been given to making this like traveling? That perhaps it could go to, even if it's in plexiglass, that it can go to schools so that kids could at least see it and appreciate it, or?
No, they're 16 by 20s.
Well, 16 by 20.
Yeah, so I mean, they would be easily movable.
Yeah.
And easily
I mean,
hangable, and, you know.
I just don't know how great the visibility is gonna be here in City Hall. It's not like we have a vast, I know the entry into the main theater is larger, but it's not as if you have like a great reception area. And they are interesting, but I would actually prefer seeing them as traveling art.
Okay, well, we do have all of the permanent exhibit of Chris Still in the Cultural Heritage Center. And that's, that's, not readily visible either. I mean,
I just
Diane,
don't
you-
have, I just don't have a lot of room over at the Heritage Museum because,
Well, it was just a suggestion as a
but-
possible place.
their cultural center is a possibility, and then, of course, City Hall. Right now, the Tarpon Springs Art Association or the Guild, I can't remember, I get them
The Art
confused.
Association.
It has paintings in the lobby of the Performing Arts Center that are there displayed on some of the walls. I have some of the photographs from the contest, on the walls, so those could be taken down and then they could be put there. But, so that's another opportunity because, of course, people come in to the lobby and come into our shows, so they get a lot of visibility there, kind of thing. If we, wanted to start creating that space as a local artist gallery, kind of thing that the public art couldn't, but then I'm gonna have the Tarpon Springs Art Association mad at me when I run out of space, or I have to push them out of space, so
Right.
I can't win, so go ahead.
Yeah, we've been pushed a lot, yeah.
And the thing that we're trying to do at the Cultural Center too is, we have that beautiful mural by Elizabeth Indianos, but we're also trying to keep the rest of the wall space free so that we can do visiting exhibitions of local artists and, and support the Tarpon Springs Art Association and with their shows and things. This is the first year that they're back in there, with the plein air, and then they're gonna do a Christmas show. So, that's considerations, when you're buying that kind of art, that visual art that would be in a museum, just keep that in mind. So,
Is the Lipa Ratner part of Tarpon Springs? They have a Tarpon Springs zip code, don't they? Do we consider them
They're in
Tarpon
they are
Springs?
Tarpon Springs,
Well, that's
yeah.
a proper place for it to be. I mean, I think the Lipa Ratner's where they should be. Now, if you want to take money out of your budget and buy them and give them to the Lipa Ratner, I'd be glad to
Well,
have
they're already
'em.
there.
Yeah, I know, but they'd be glad to have them. And people would go there for it, but.
Well, I'm still in favor of getting them. I don't know how other people feel.
Yeah, I am too.
Lucianne?
I guess my question revolves around the fact that I know when we each joined this committee, we got the big notebook, and in the back, there was a list of, for better description, inside wall art that is already city property, and I assume. So my question is about programming. How do these works fit in with what is already held? Is there a regular exhibition program? How does this fit in with what else is there? And if space is problematic and we're not programming, then I don't see that as just standalone works. They contribute to our reason for being. Yes, I am very much in favor of more contemporary work, but really in an outside, more monumental way. I think these are arresting. I don't have the context in my head for them.
Okay, Bill?
Yes, I agree with a number of things that have been stated around the room. They are very attractive pieces of art. I would tend to put our limited dollars into something other than that. I mean, it's 10% of the cost of getting the bronze that we had talked about and looked at earlier. And I think if we disperse the funds too widely, we're not gonna end up being able to get to where we wanna get to,
Okay.
okay?
Trish?
I would like to see us purchase them. I like them. And I don't know, but we keep talking about budget, but has anybody ever looked at I mean, have we looked at the total amount that we have and what we have coming out so that we actually know an amount that we have to spend?
Marissa, could you ballpark something? You poor thing, I'm always putting you on the spot.
No, she has it.
Second here.
David, while she's looking at that, what do you,
So I don't feel like I have enough
List of
information to make an educated decision, because I've never really
Somewhat.
seen them.
okay.
And it says 3D, but are they like, do you walk past them, are they 3D?
Yeah, you
Not
should
quite sure
take a
of it.
trip to the LIPA.
I should,
Yeah.
I'm sure I would love to see them. I mean, this isn't something personally that would hang in my house.
Right,
I mean,
That wouldn't
the
be
one
in
with the
my house,
face is
but-
kinda cool, you know, it's
We both
very
have a
interesting.
face, yeah.
Well,
We
the
both
right,
have a face.
the half a face on the right one. The one on the left, I don't know if I could look at that at night by myself. I might scare. But
okay,
I think if more people could enjoy it, it could be a consideration, but if it's just gonna be in an area with not much foot traffic, I would agree with Mr. Meals that perhaps we could use the funds for something
okay.
that could be enjoyed.
All right, so can I entertain a motion to purchase them?
I make a motion to purchase them.
Do I have a second? We have to do this to discuss it and vote.
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay. All right, Marissa, could you call the roll? This is to approve the purchase.
Ms. Jennings,
Yes?
Ms. Gregory,
Yes,
Mr. Meals,
No,
Ms. Robinson,
No.
Mr. Sallow.
Can I plead the fifth? Or in
You can
between?
abstain.
Abstain.
it's a tough one.
Mr. Stackhouse,
No,
Ms. Hennessy.
No.
Okay, I think the motion fails.
can I just bring one thing up about the budget on this, that was brought up just real quickly? $3,750 and $17,000 for the other project. Why are we not getting any applications for the Heritage project?
Well, the deadline's the 31st, I'm
No,
hoping.
That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
mean, it's out there. We did get one. But, I mean, I've worked in a research laboratory and I can't figure it out. Maybe
Well-
Debbie should have a crack at
Well,
it.
the thing I'm leading to in it is that there's not enough money. The budget isn't big enough to attract people to do that project. It's a twofold project, it's complicated, it's not something somebody's just gonna go to their shelf and pull it off and say, here's what I can do, or change the logo on a hat to
Right.
make it fit, you know, so I think that Heritage project is underfunded.
Okay, well, why don't we already had a motion and a vote to defer it to the deadline, so I think we should wait for the deadline, see what comes in, and if there's nothing viable, it'll go to the selection panel. If there's nothing viable, when the deadline is extended, if it has to be, then we'll reconsider the funding. Does that make sense to everybody? I think that's the natural progression.
Do you want the budget numbers?
Okay.
Has the Department of Agriculture funding gone anywhere?
I called my friend, and unfortunately, I called him on September 30th, and it was the end of their fiscal year. And he basically hung up on me because he had all kinds of crazy deadlines, but I am going to get back to him.
So it is the beginning of our fiscal year. Right now, what you have approved to spend in the total public art fund is $147,000. And what you have left in the public art fund balance is $237,000.
Okay.
So 237,000 is your whole. That is everything in the public art fund. What the BOC has approved for spending during this fiscal year, which is October 1st, which just happened, to September 30th, is 147,000. If you want to pursue projects that are outside of that limit, it just needs to go before the BOC for further approval to use those funds.
Okay.
I will also tell you that in addition to this, I did check with the building department because that's where the developer money comes in, you know, and to see if there were any projects in the hopper that could potentially be, you know, money for the Public Art Committee, and there is none right now.
What about the car wash?
It has to, they have to submit, and they've got.
So it's
they
not
said-
there yet?
Yeah, it's not there yet, yeah. So they let me know, and I check with them usually on a monthly basis to see if there's something coming down, you know, before our meetings.
Maybe they could do a water feature. Okay. All right, next item of new business, the proposal from David and John Hayes for a rental of some artwork. And, let's see. Let's see, what was, I think the dollar amount was something on the order of
26?
26,000, yeah.
It's on the back of that.
And that's
Oh,
for,
right, yeah.
and that's for 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a-
Yeah, 2,000 per sculpture per year, plus round-trip trucking. And with the way things are going today, round-trip trucking could
skyrocket.
skyrocket. So, Lucianne, we'll start with you.
I like the idea. I think all of the locations they have proposed are over-committed, as they say at the Ritz.
Right,
I think there are areas in town where these could be grouped.
Can't find mine.
But again,
It's
it's,
the big pack.
Oh, that is.
yeah,
okay.
that's it.
That's it, right here, right here. Okay.
to me, is this a priority for us? You know, given the discussion we've gone into, I would much rather commit more than our budget this year to the Black Heritage Program. I think that's a landmark kind of, what is the word everybody uses now, a legacy
Right,
project.
right.
And if money were no object, I'd go for this, but in sort of a sculpture park kind of configuration.
Right.
That's where
Bill?
Yeah, that's, falls in line with my thinking as well. The other piece of it is, you know, with the 1 year, it kind of like shows up and then all of a sudden it just disappears. And that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of gone. So it's a lot of money for
Rental.
showing up and
Right.
renting some art.
Trish?
Yeah, I would rather see us use our money on something else. There are other projects that I like a lot better than
Right.
this,
David?
personally.
I'm not a big renter guy. You know? Like Mr. Meals says, maybe everybody starts to like it and then it disappears.
Just gone.
Do we get the 22,000 back? We
Right.
don't. And so that disappears as well. And I personally don't think it would be a good move. I don't know if it necessarily fits with Tarpon as well.
No, I don't either.
No. Robert?
Well, I think there's some practical issues here with some of those. Some of these are tripods, sort of like Alexander Calder and stuff like that. And some of them, though, are on pedestals, and they have to be fixed to the ground. For a year, I mean, when sculptures like these go to shows around the country, I know artists that do this, and they're up for maybe 6 months, maybe a year. The city that does it has to lay down foundations. And those foundations have to be in a place, and then they have to be bolted onto those foundations. If not, you have a serious attractive nuisance liability issue. Somebody climbing on it and it's not properly affixed and it falls over and cuts it in half, then you're in lots of trouble. So borrowing these for a year is gonna cost the city money to put them somewhere. So that, I don't know whether that's in the cost, whether they'll pour a foundation or not. There's that issue right there. I mean, if it was for 5 years, you might want to look at it, you know, and this kind of art relates to anything.
Right.
I think you can say that in a way
Right.
too.
Debbie?
I mean, you can say, oh, those, you know, you can say these are porpoises jumping and,
I see that. I agree with Robert, but I also do have to say that I really do appreciate the modern art. And I would like to see us acquire some modern art for our city.
Right. Okay,
Doesn't
can
have
I,
to be in primary colors, but I would like to see some modern.
primary and modern go hand in hand.
I know, I hear you.
okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to rent the David Hayes sculptures.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, second?
Seconded.
Okay. Marissa, could you call the roll?
Ms. Jennings,
No.
Ms. Gregory,
No,
Mr. Meals,
No.
Ms. Robinson,
No,
Mr. Sallow,
That would be a no.
Mr. Stackhouse,
No,
Ms. Hennessy.
No.
Motion fails. Okay. I think we've gone through everything on the agenda. I just wanted to bring up another comment. There was agenda item at the CRA portion of the Board of Commissioners meeting on the 28th of September about the purchase and placement of production art by the city. And there was a draft resolution that was on the agenda last night. And whatever is purchased will be under the placement and is going to be under the aegis of ours truly, the Public Art Committee. So I have a few choice locations for them, but that shall remain unsaid. Does anybody have any comments or questions about?
yeah.
Okay. Diane, the city announcements?
No, I just, I think we covered everything today of everything that I have.
Right, okay.
One more.
Bill? Sure.
We had talked about a water feature
Yes.
in Spring Bayou. And so I reached out to Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission and found the right person who is responsible for the manatee. And had a really nice conversation with her. And there are some limitations that we would have to be mindful of. She would get the final, we would need her okay for the final permit with DEP if it went that far. And she would be more than happy to work with us during the process to make sure that anything that we come up with, that there's no way for entanglement or that it's not disruptive to the manatee. But she was rather interested in the project, so, okay.
David had on the back of his handout, there are two things about the water feature, and I know that Lucianne is currently doing research on the water features too. So just call your attention back to David's handout, the last pages of it. And also, on the back is the basketball court, which I thought was a cool concept too.
Right, right,
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that would be neat.
That would be neat,
To
yeah.
paint the basketball courts.
yeah.
but here is the handout on the water
Right.
feature.
What's interesting is you already encapsulated a lot of these things, because one of the things that she was hesitant about was any kind of a water feature that really, not like the Bellagio fountains,
Right.
that would be disruptive to manatees. So in other words, if it was contained somehow, which is kind of interesting that you came up with some of these concepts, that kind of contains whatever water feature that we're doing so that it's not that disruptive to them.
It's more of a natural flow.
Right, right.
Correct.
And Victor Schauberger is pretty interesting. He was always viewing nature, you know, such as we all should, but he made these fountains to where they would filter the water just through how they circulated, which is pretty interesting. Because, I mean, I was even eating a burger today, and when I was squeezing mayonnaise out, it doesn't just go straight, it folds. Like
Right.
everything moves in its sacred geometric, fashion. So I believe in a lot of these things. You can see by the picture that I put of the river how it winds. So maybe creating something that is more naturally forming would easily get past, or easier
Right.
to get past as well.
But as we move along, we should include her, and I've got all her contact information. She was
Fantastic.
very,
Yeah. I think this is a great project. We have the A-team working on it. Bill, Lucianne, and David.
Got a name on there.
So, okay. Anything else from anybody? Oh, Robert, do you want to just mention your great excursion, your
Well,
adventure?
It's kind of hard to say if it's gonna happen or not.
Okay,
I mean, that's my hesitancy in that, and I wanted to inform Diane mostly that I wasn't gonna be here the next couple of months, so that's the possibility.
okay.
The thing is, Carol and I have been invited to be artists on board the Schmidt Ocean Institute out of California research vessel, the Falkor, and it's a 290-foot research vessel. It's actually out in the middle of that hurricane out in the Pacific right at the moment. It's probably far enough away from it, but it was operating in those waters. We are scheduled to early November fly to Baja, California, Baja, Mexico. I mean, not Baja. What is the town? La Paz.
Okay.
La Paz. It's way down at the tip where the hurricane happens to be right at the moment, or it has been. The vessel is out there doing research on, I believe it's looking at deep sea vents and how to image them properly, because it's down at the bottom of the ocean in the deepest parts of the ocean. And so that's the kind of thing. The Schmidt Ocean Institute is the Schmidts, a husband and wife couple, are Google. Or they're Google money. They left Google, and they have this philanthropic institute called the Schmidt Ocean Institute. They own this ship, and they give it free to scientists all around the world. And so they go out for however long it takes the mission to take, which is why we don't know. We are scheduled to go out on a certain date, and they said, we may not be able to tell you until a week beforehand. Or we might tell you we're leaving a week early. Or we might leave next year.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're in that kind of a limbo with the thing. And what we are is, we're on the last voyage of this particular ship, in that it's sailing from La Paz through the canal, through the Panama Canal, up along the coast of Africa to Vigo, Spain, where they're going to transfer the ship to a larger vessel called the Falkor 2, T-O-O. And Falkor is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the story, it's a children's story, The Never-Ending Story. Here's a movie about it. Falkor is the dragon.
Ah,
It's the
okay.
comfort dragon. It really looks more like a puppy dog than
Right.
it does
Yeah, I
like
always
a
thought it was a
dragon.
dog.
And so that's the Falkor. That's the mindset of these people, right?
Yeah.
So they go out and do this really hardcore discovery of things. They've been involved with, you've heard about their finding out that New Zealand is not an island, it's a continent. They've thought there was, but they are part of the group that's been collecting data that says, yes, it is a continent because it's about the size of Australia, but it's underwater. But it was a continent, and New Zealand's just the top of the mountains.
Right.
They've discovered so many things like that, and they have junior scholastic kind of things where they ask people to go out there and give them impossible things to do, and they go out and try to do them. So it's a very interesting thing, and we're supposed to hook up with a major institution and broadcast daily back from the ship what's going on. And our partner on this end will be the Dali Museum. And they're into science, and Dali was into science, so they like this. And so we proposed it to them, and they immediately said yes, that this would happen. So there's a media person on board. We broadcast daily. We will probably, one of our shticks will be somewhere probably on the lower fantail where they can step off into the water if they want to. We'll probably get a temperature reading of the ocean, and we'll then drop an ice cube in the ocean and to symbolically cool the ocean. It will be made out of ocean water. It won't be fresh water. So, and that will be broadcast back as a thing. And then whatever else we're doing, and because there won't be any experiments on board this particular trip. They're just en route from La Paz, Mexico to Vigo, Spain. So we are probably the only people other than the crew on board, and it'll be interesting how it works, and it's a real privilege, and we of course have to produce a body of work. We have to commemorate the Falkor, which will then be selected by them from the body of work we do, and it will be major work hanging in the Falkor too. So they'll be remembering this. We'll be writing stories about the crew, about past projects, about the voyage, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be multifaceted work that we do. We'll be doing paintings of the ship. We'll be doing stories of the adventure. We'll be doing ship's logs, which will be illustrated, and we'll be broadcasting things back. So
Sounds
so
like
we
a
will be
great
doing that.
adventure.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't know what that goes through. I mean, it won't just go through the Dali. I think it just goes out.
Any way you can post us and let us know what's
Oh,
going
yeah,
on?
everybody, yeah, the whole thing. Everybody
So
can
how do
follow
we
us.
connect? How
Well,
do we-
I
before
don't
we
know.
do this, let's, I wanted to have a motion to adjourn. We're still in session. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, sorry.
I don't know how to connect yet.
So I'm sure there'll probably be a social media, Facebook.
Oh, yes, yes, there's a person on board that does that.
Okay, so maybe you can connect to Joan
Oh,
and
yes,
Joan
yes, we
can,
will,
or,
definitely. The more people that this hooks up with, the more they like it.
oh, sure, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What else do we need to do?
Let
for
me know
next
if you need
month?
another person.
I know, really, right?
Oh,
I could be free. I'll
Yeah.
ask Denise.
Yeah, we've had people offer to hide in our.
Yes.
Of course, this is not a cruise liner.
Yeah.
I mean, they're berths,
I mean,
hardcore
when
berths.
when I
It's pretty
joined this
good.
committee,
It's a
we
research
were
vessel.
allowed to
It is a
exchange
research, yeah.
information
It's a
Yeah.
research.
and do
So it's
these
not-
projects.
Nothing pushy about it.
I mean, there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
We're
are
getting there, but it's just-
beginning to believe that the Earth
Yeah,
is flat
I-
again. It would be funny if they
know,
started
I've been maintaining
circumnavigating
for
the globe
years.
to prove it.
Committee.
or did-